to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave being a Volunteer. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in Northern Michigan. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening. Please subscribe. I think we're less than 100 away from 2,000 subscribers, so that would be really cool. For those of you that are thinking that we're back to the same old with our team, we're 0-2. We lost to the Pacers after being up by 8 points going into the fourth. Tonight we were within 4 points late in the third, and we ended up losing. So I don't blame you if you feel that way. I think that it's not going to be that way. We obviously have started out playing against some tough teams. And last year the Pistons were 0-30 against the 8 Eastern playoff teams. Of course, we didn't win very many. We only won 14 games the whole year, but we were 0-30 against the 8 top teams in the East. This year we're playing 23 of the 24 teams we start out with are in the East, and 6 of them are all playoff teams. So it's going to be challenging at first. Tomorrow we turn around and we have to play the Celtics, and that's their opening game. They made 29 threes. They tied an all-time NBA record. They missed their last 13 threes, and they still tied the record. So that was amazing. They're a great team, so that's going to be another challenge for us, playing a back-to-back game. But tonight was a tough one. Like I said, we turned it over 22 times. Cade Cunningham 9 times, way too many times. We turned it 8 times in the first quarter. We were still up 29-28 after turning it over 8 times in the first quarter. So that's just got to be changed. We can't have that happen. And Cade was remarkable. 32 points shooting. He shot really well, made tough shots. He's a great player. He had 30 at the end of the third when we were within 4 points. So he didn't score many going into the fourth, but he's got to cut out the turnovers, Cade. But we just have to make sure that we got some players that aren't playing as well as they can. Tobias isn't playing as well as I expect him to do, and Ivy played well. He didn't get to touch the ball that much in the second half. He had a little bit of foul trouble. Stu's line tonight was 11 minutes, 0 points, 5 fouls, 3 turnovers. And so, that's not going to get it done. There's just a lot of things disappointing. Beasley was unreal tonight in the first half. In the second half, he took bad shots, and those bad shots led to points for Cleveland. So, it's just a lot of things. Everybody, our margin for error is slim. I think our margin of error would be greater if we had Asara, and that's not an excuse. Everybody has injured players, and I think he's going to make a big difference to bring energy to our team, but we just have to get, Tobias is hard. Fantecchio, I thought he was going to be fantastic. He's really struggled, but Tobias and Fantecchio, they don't get consistent touches, and Tech doesn't get consistent minutes, so all that stuff makes it hard for guys. But second quarter, though, the turnovers were a big story, but I'm going to tell you, the second quarter we gave up 37 points, and it was like a layup line or point blank shots. They made shots right at the basket, 37 points in the second quarter, and Jerome comes in and off the bench, and he makes 3 out of 4 shots or 4 out of 5 shots. He just drove right by us, and so he was tough in the first half. And so, we just did a poor job, just lots of breakdowns defensively. Same thing happened in the fourth quarter, against the Pacers. So, got to get better at it. Will we? We'll see. So, like I said, we played the Pacers in that game, and again, there were some similarities to last year. We were up by 8 going to the fourth. Cade plays really well. Cade was out of this world in the third quarter. He made like 8 out of 9 shots and just superhuman. And then fourth quarter, he sits down, and when he comes back, he's 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter. And that's a lot like last year. And then another pattern, in the Pacers game, he scored 6 points in the first half. And he did that some last year. And it was amazing how many times he had very few points in the first half because he didn't take very many shots or make very many shots. And in the second half, he just turns it on. And in the fourth quarter, it's like he runs out of gas, and he struggles. He's 1 for 6. One shot was just a desperation shot that shouldn't really count against the shooting percentage. But still, he's 1 for 5. and Ivy missed some shots. And tonight we had the game close. We had the game within 4 points, and then Beasley took 2 bad shots, which led to easy shots for the Cavs at the other end. Holland forced a shot, and he takes some crazy shots. Sometimes he doesn't shoot that many times, but then it, leads all at the same time. So Beasley missed 2, Holland missed 1, and Fontecchio missed a tough shot that he probably should have taken. So right in a row, and that's when the game got away from us. So we just got to clean that up, and we got to get some more consistency. We had in that Pacers game, I'm going to jump around a little bit, but the Pacers game, that was such a close game, and big turning point. Tobias comes down, drives in, makes a shot, and one, and he's going to go to the free throw line, have a 3-point play, and then they review it. I thought it still was a foul on the defender, but they reversed the call, and that went against us, and then we got the technical foul. I'm not sure how that worked because Holland was on the court. Holland, we're going to talk more about him in a little bit, but Holland was on the court. We had 6 players on the court, so we got a technical. But we had possession of the ball. I thought if you had possession of the ball and got a technical, you still got to keep the ball. But I guess if it's a technical on something like that, then it's not. So anyway, JB in the post-game press conference said the referees calibrate who the Pistons are. He said we got to be tough and physical the whole game, but he tried to say that the refs were biased towards the Pistons because we're known as a bad team and that they don't respect us, and so that's kind of true. It appears to be true. Donovan Mitchell had a bad game tonight. We lose to them, and he's like 8 for 21, 1 for 8 on threes. So he's still, and he 2 for 4 on free throws. So that, and we still lose to him. So that was our big chance if we didn't turn the ball over. I hate Yang. I don't remember what his first game is. He's a jerk. He's a cheap shot artist. I remember he cheap shotted Bogey last year. He got into it with Holland. Holland's coming up the court, and Yang kind of grabs him and pushes him on purpose, and then Holland just loses the ball and just grabs his arm or does something, and then we get to keep the ball. They call a foul on Yang, which they should have because that happened before, but nothing gets called on Holland, and then Beasley and Yang get into it, and they give double technicals to those guys. Another thing, bad call. So Cade's coming down there with not much time left, and he drives in there at the buzzer. And just as he goes in the buzzer, I think Dean Wade grabs his arm and pulls it so he can't get a shot off. He could have got the shot off because he just barely didn't get it off in time. But had he not got his arm grabbed, he would have got it off in time. The ball goes in the basket. Should have been a 3-point play at the buzzer. No foul. Then Cade gets a technical, which I don't blame him. So Cade doesn't get any free throws. Cade's having this dominant game. He's taking it to him. And the only way he can get a free throw is if he gets to shoot a technical. So that's just frustrating, and that's just the way it's been. But we shot 47% from 2, so we shot 41% on 3s, and we still get beat soundly. And the Cavs, they shot 51%, and that third quarter they got too many easy ones. They shot 38% on 3s, and they made the same number that we did, but they turned it over 15 times, and we turned it over 22 times. I mean, they turned it over 12 times, and we turned it over 22. We had 22 fouls, they had 15 fouls. So, but Dean Wade, so here's another thing. Comes off the bench, he makes 5 out of 7 threes. And like I said, Ty Jerome had 4 out of 6 shots he made. And those things all just swing the game around for us. But go through the box score. I know some people maybe don't like to go through the box score, but we get to talk about every player when we do that. Hardaway. Well, I want to say this. Hardaway, I'm not a fan of Hardaway. And I want Hardaway to do great. If Hardaway does great, I'm happy. So if anybody thinks, he wants Hardaway to do bad, I don't. He was good tonight. He made 3 out of 6, 3 out of 5 threes, really good. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 9 points. So I'm going to tell you what, his percentage is good. He's a great shooter. But the problem with him is he takes bad shots. And so he didn't take many bad shots. He took some of the ones he missed were bad shots. But he makes really good percentage of the good shots that he takes. So Harris has just struggled and not been much of a factor. I thought he was going to be a force for us and a consistent, rock solid, 17, 18 points, every night, shoot a good percentage, but he hasn't been doing that. He played 35 minutes, so, he played tied for the most minutes on the team, but he was 3 for 9, 2 for 3. JB said he's got to do more things to get him more opportunities, so maybe they will do that, but if he's not been it's 2 games, but he still hasn't contributed like I thought he was going to, but he was 2 for 2 on free throws, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, which is really good for as many times as he touched it. It's excellent. So Duran struggles. Of course, I think a lot of times Duran struggles more against teams that are bigger, and when they got Allen and Mobley down there, that makes his life hard. But he was only 29 minutes, 2 for 4, 1 for 4 on free throws. So his amazing free throw percentage last year, 79%, and he's not shooting that this year after 2 games. So hopefully he gets on track. He only had 7 rebounds, 5 assists, which is amazing, with 1 turnover. So that was great for Duran. So Ivy started out really strong, but he played 29 minutes. He had a little bit of foul trouble. He had 4 fouls, but he is 8 for 16, 2 for 5. He was 2 for 2. He made his first 2 threes, but then he missed his last 3. I still would say this. I still want Cade to get more arc on his shot, and I want Ivy to consistently hold his follow through, extend his arm, and hold his follow through high. Because even though he's shooting okay, he's still, I'm convinced that he would be much more consistent if he did that. But he was 4 for 6 from the line. Even on his free throws, his arm goes forward a little bit too much, and he has a little bit of bend in his arm instead of just completely extending. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 22 points. So, our backcourt, which is supposed to be our key, they scored lots of points, 55 points for our backcourt. That's should be enough to win the game. But Cade played 35 minutes, 4 for 14 for 24. Again, he had 30 going into the fourth quarter, so his fourth quarter again. I bet if you look at last year, and obviously this year is only 2 games, but Cade's percentage is, I think, probably highest in the third quarter and by far the worst in the fourth quarter. So that has to change. But he had 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 9 turnovers, 33 points. But he's a star. The shots he makes are not easy, but he can make them consistently. So that's what being great is. So, like I said, Beasley, like 29 minutes. He looked so good in the first half. He was just making big-time shots. He looked like a superstar. Second half, he tried to force things, and they weren't in rhythm, and they weren't open, and he missed a bad shot, and then they come down the other end, and he just loses his man on the back door, and then, the game just got away from us. But he shows potential. I mean, I know that he looks like the kind of guy that could be that spark plug off the bench to come in and score buckets, and he could shoot the 3. He was 3 for 6 on threes. He had 4 rebounds and only 1 assist, but like I said, 13 points all in the first half. So Stu's line is sad. I'm so proud of Stu because he embraced, coming off the bench. He was a starter, just like his whole career for the Pistons. And now he's coming off the bench. He's going to play less minutes, but it seemed like he embraced the role. But then he's not, like you said, 11 minutes, no shots, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 3 turnovers. He got 3 turnovers in 11 minutes. That's not good. Plus the 5 fouls, which you can't foul so much. Fontecchio had 20 minutes, 1 for 4, all threes, made 2 for 2 free throws, 2 rebounds. So he doesn't look like the same player he was last year. Now he's not starting. Now he doesn't get consistent looks, but that's up to him. He's got to, we saw that last preseason game. He was 5 for 10 on threes. He can shoot it, and he's just got to get in a rhythm, and maybe JB will believe in him more, and he'll have more confidence. But it just seems like he doesn't. Maybe he's not JB's kind of player. Who knows? Paul Reed, I was really high on him. So here's Paul Reed. Paul Reed plays for a playoff team, the Sixers. Starts a lot of the year because of injuries and stuff, but still he starts and plays almost every game, plays lots of minutes. Real efficient. He rebounded. He shot well. He passed well. And he defended well. Blocked shots. And he doesn't get to play for us. He played even with Duran and Stu in foul trouble. He got 7 minutes. So that's, again, I love what JB said. I love his rotations. I love the way he staggers. There's all these things I asked him to do. I love the way he'll throw Cade in. He threw Cade in at maybe the end of one of the quarters against the Pacers. Cade's getting his normal rest, but all of a sudden we have possession of the ball with under 24 seconds left, so JB runs him out there. And actually, Monty did that too sometimes, but Cade sticks a three right in the guy's face, right at the buzzer. So, but yeah, I like a lot of the things that he's done. I like the way that we try to compete, and I think we're a lot better team, and I think we're going to be a lot better team with the way the JB coaches and stuff. So, when I say a few things here and there, I really am happy. Well, here's the thing that I would do as a coach. So he's going to put Cade back in the fourth quarter. And Cade is, he played the whole third quarter. So he needed a bigger rest. So there's 7 minutes and 16 seconds left. Evan Mobley travels. I'm thinking in my head, get Cade in there. Get Cade in there. Get him in, sub him in on an offensive possession. Instead, there's a dead ball. You can get him in there. And I did this with my players. If I had a really good scorer and they needed a rest, when they were close to the rest time, I would wait until there was an offensive dead ball where we were going to be playing an offense. So anyway, he puts him in the next dead ball, and we're on defense. And so he could have, and it was like 12 seconds difference. So anyway, that's just something I thought of during the game that didn't happen. But yeah, I'm not going to go on too long about that. I think it's going to be a real challenge that we play the Celtics. I'm taking my grandson to see MJ down at the Fisher Theater tomorrow at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to get back, and I don't know how much of the Celtics game I'm going to get to watch. But I'm going to listen to it on radio, and so I'll try to come on after the Celtics game. But University of Michigan men's basketball team got a commitment from one of the best international players. His name is Oscar Goodman. He's a forward. He's big and strong, and he can shoot the three, and he can pass, and he can dunk. And he looked, in the highlights, everybody looks good, but he looks like he's a real good player, and he's really highly thought of. And so that's exciting for University of Michigan men's basketball. And so we'll see what happens with him. But anyway, just thank you very much for listening. Hang in there, Piston fans. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel this year. I'm really confident, but I think these first quite a few games, 10 games or so, are going to be tough. So be the reason that somebody feels cared for, and go Pistons.